My name is Caris. I am the Education Success Manager at EdShed, and my colleague Amelia is here, who's one of our lovely trainers, and we'll be doing this webinar together today. What we plan to do in this webinar is go through the different products that EdShed as a company have and how you can use those at home for home educators, or maybe those of you who may potentially be tutors, and what subscription might be right for you, and what all of the different platforms and products include that will be hopefully helpful. So we'll go through all of those different things today. So there'll be lots of looking at our products. So if we first start off by looking at what we have, so EdShed is our overall umbrella company. And within EdShed, we have these different products. So we have Spelling Shed, which is one of our most popular. This is a full spelling scheme, as well as a pupil game platform. And it includes all the grammar, punctuation and spelling objectives from UK Year 1 to Year 6. Lots of schools use this all around the world. And as a home educator, you would, for all of our products, have access to the teaching tools as well as the pupil game platform. MathShed similarly has got a scheme which follows the White Rose progression and a whole series of teaching PowerPoints for you to use, as well as a pupil game platform to practice those key math skills. PhonicShed is a full validated systematic synthetic phonics scheme, and it also has an accompanying pupil game platform. So this includes lesson plans, lots of other interactive digital tools, and we also have some physical products for this as well. QuizShed is totally free. It's a free quiz making tool for all topics and subjects, and you can set these for pupils on your account too, and pupils and teachers can also create quizzes using this. Literacy Shed Plus is slightly different to the other products I've spoken about because it doesn't have a pupil login and game platform part of it. This is purely a teaching resource. So it's everything you need to do with literacy. So it might be lots of reading comprehensions on there. There are also lots of writing resources. There's also a new fluency shed with free access to some materials. So that's pure teaching tool, but it could be useful, and we will lightly touch on it today. So first of all, if we start with Spelling Shed, so what is Spelling Shed? We have Bumble, who is used a lot within the Spelling Shed scheme and the PowerPoints. It's a full scheme with spelling lessons. So there are lesson plans, PowerPoints to accompany these. And within our lesson plans and PowerPoints, we like to teach spelling skills. So it goes through etymology, morphology of words, looking at ways that we can use orthographic mapping to aid spelling. We also recall phonics knowledge as well. So children can use that to aid spelling as the spellings get more complex. These are a bit of a snapshot at the games that the pupils will be able to access. You as the adult will be able to set work for pupils to access on their logins, and that is the same across, apart from Literacy Shed, all of our different sheds within EdShed. So you can really limit and monitor what pupils are able to access and also practice. So now we come to MathShed. So Astrabi is our key character within MathShed. MathShed does not have lesson plans, but it has teaching PowerPoints that cover all of the national curriculum objectives from Year 1 to Year 6. There are also some EYFS PowerPoints on there too. You can then set quizzes for pupils to practice the skills that you have taught within the lesson. And there are also lots of other interactive games as well within MathShed for children to practice their fluency skills, their mental arithmetic, and also things like the times table check within Year 4. And then we come to PhonicShed. So PhonicShed's main character is Joe. He's the keeper of the PhonicShed garden. And within PhonicShed, we use different characters. So it's fully validated by the DFE. Phonics lessons have got full lesson plans. They don't have PowerPoint, but they've got a lot more different interactive tools. So you don't need PowerPoints for phonics. This is more in-person teaching. So it's narrative driven. Each of the grapheme phoneme correspondents are taught via a character. So you've got Nancy the princess here, and they are taught through books, through stories. So the children really get to know those characters, and they pop up within the children's decodable books. So everything is really strictly aligned. So should you wish to have a look at this, you can follow the strict progression and start on a really great phonics journey with your child. And there is also the digital option for the interactive games for them to use as well, that will practice all the skills and the grapheme phoneme correspondences that you have been teaching within the lesson.
Okay, so Karis has given us a really good overview of 3 of our main sheds there. And like she said, we've also got the free quiz shed and literature shed add-ons as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about where to start with it all. So if you have ever had a look at the EdShed products before, you'll see we tend to use the term stage 1, stage 2, rather than year group or P if you're in Scotland or Northern Ireland, or in other countries you might use grade. So there might be lots of different words for it. In EdShed, we always use stage. So for anybody in the UK, this little chart here gives you a bit of a guide on what stage matches to what age and what year groups in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So for example, if your child is 8 years old, you'd be looking around the stage 3 and stage 4 things you're working with. This can be a really nice guide for you. So if you're home educating or if you're tutoring, you know roughly what sort of material that the child would be accessing in schools, if they were in school or if you are supporting in school. And you can match up to that using the stage format. But it also means that if you need to go to different year groups to help support a child in particular things that they're struggling with, it doesn't have that year or that age plastered all over it. It is just talking about stages, so it can be a little bit more removed from that. And we do generally within EdShed suggest teaching the stage that is linked to the children's age group, but you can use those other materials to support outside of that too. Now, the medium-term plans for each product are probably one of the best places to have a look and guide yourself through the programme. So I'll start with the spelling shed one. This is available from stages 1 to 6, and it is designed around school teaching timetable. So there's 36 weeks, and the children typically have 39 weeks in school. Each week has an objective and a fully resourced lesson and a list of 10 words to it. Some objectives are standalone, and some might not be necessary depending on what you're doing and what you're aiming for in your education. So you can choose objectives based on the relevance and where your child is at. So you can use this as a bit of a roadmap of where to find the resources for that particular thing you want to do. So you might have a look at, I've got the stage 6 one here, and you might see particular objectives that you think, yes, this child I'm working with really needs that one. It doesn't mean you have to work through all of it in order. You can go straight to that if you want to, or you can use the order if you would like to. So it's up to you. You can vary it depending on need. The same for MathShed, there are overviews for each stage or each year group, and this would be from 1 to 3. But like Karis mentioned, we do also have some early years resources to match alongside that. They just haven't got a medium-term plan to go along with it, so it's a little bit different on that, but they are still there. And each block has the appropriate number of weeks worth of fully resourced lessons and assignments for it. So I can see on that grid on the left there, the stage 3 one, the place value block covers 3 weeks worth of work. So there will be 3 weeks worth of fully resourced lessons and assignments for that. In maths, each block does build upon the one previous to it or one from a previous year group. So it's best to work through in an order. although you might find some parts you can go a little bit quicker and some parts you might need to go a little bit slower. So you don't necessarily have to stick to the pace of it, but it would be a good idea to make sure you are going in the order in the maths one. And that same sort of concept would apply to the phonics one. So phonics, EdShed is designed from nursery to year 2. So that's ages 3 to 7. So it's not all the way through your primary education. Each week has about 5 objectives and fully resourced lessons and other supporting ideas to go alongside that. So it's not just lesson activities, there's big sheets of provision ideas which are more play-based activities that you can do linked to the learning for that lesson. It has a systematic progression. So that just means it's best to go in the order that it's given. We start with S, A, T, P as we go through with learning the letter sounds as well as the letter names. And if you go through in the same order, it means that children can build on that knowledge and then read all of the materials that's accessible there. So it is best, again, like the maths one, to go in that order if you are using the EdShed ones. But again, you might find that there's bits you can shorten, bits you need to spend a bit more time on. The assessment weeks and the consolidation weeks that you will see pop up in the EdShed medium-term plans are likely to be a lot smaller if you're working with less children. So these are, again, designed for teachers. So the assessment and application week is designed for a class teacher to do approximately 30 assessments. If you're working with a smaller group of 5 children, it won't take you as long, or if you're working with just one child, again, that assessment will be much, much easier. So you won't need to spend as much time there. So I just want to talk a little bit briefly about some of the teaching process ideas that have gone into the EdShed products so that you can take it into your teaching and your support of the children that you're working with. So within EdShed, we'd recommend choosing whatever your progression is. Make sure you do that before you start rather than just picking random bits along the way so that you can do things in a nice order. Then teach the lesson content that you've got. So you might use the EdShed resources to do that, or you might have other things to go alongside it. Setting an assignment means setting one of our online games on EdShed. So you can use all of those games Karis was talking about to meet the objectives that you were talking about in that lesson content. And then you can review your data and see how that child was getting on with those particular things. If you'd like a little bit more detail and a little bit more training on particular products, we actually have our champion training that's available. So you will see if you log into EdShed, there's a little banner that says Become an EdShed Champion. You can click on that and it has training which is free for each of our products. So SpellingShed, MathShed, PhonicShed. And it takes you through a little bit of the teaching and a little bit of the how to use the EdShed tools, and it can really help. I'll just give for each, so I'm going to do phonics, spelling and maths, and I'll pick out 5 things that I think are really key to make sure you're teaching that area well. So in phonics, you need to teach children to have good awareness of sounds. That might be your environment or music sounds, as well as sounds we use for words. That's what we call the phonemes. Then children need to learn the letter sound correspondences, those letter sound links. So your grapheme phoneme correspondences, they're also called. And they must be in a systematic order so that we ensure that we're covering every sound. Then you want to apply this knowledge to reading texts that use just the knowledge that you've learned, and it doesn't leave you having to guess for particular sounds or look at pictures and things like that that might lead you down the wrong path. We're just using the things that we've learned in phonics and writing things that use those letter sound links too. Then after we've done all that, we want repetition. Plenty of repetition of the sounds and identifying these skills, identifying the letter sound links, pointing them out where we see them all around. So I've got a little video here just to show you our navigation around the Phonics Shed website. This is with our new EdShed website. If you click on Phonics Shed and then the scheme lessons, you'll see our medium-term plan laid out for you there. You can change the year group in the top right corner and choose the appropriate year group. There is a printout version as well if you'd rather look at it like that. You can download the planning from there. You can view all of your planning and all of your resources. Like I said, there's the overview. You've got lots of guidance in there, and then all those suggestions for other provision, as well as the detailed lesson plans, and they might be really helpful if you've not taught phonics before, because they really talk you through the process there. If I close that, I can go back in my website and open my lesson viewer. So this will show me my teaching book that I can read with the child to introduce the sound. And it also has our other interactive materials throughout this. So once I've finished my teaching book, I can move on to my letter formation, and I've got the song in there as well. So that's all available on our lesson viewer. You can also use our flashcard tool for that recap that I was talking about. So the flashcard tool is exactly like the physical flashcards. You can choose which ones you want, and the backs have all the characters on, whereas the fronts are quite plain and the children can focus on calling out the phoneme or the sound that links with that grapheme. In spelling, it's kind of similar to phonics. We need to be linking to sounds, and that is one part of spelling, but it's not the only bit. And I think that's where some people start to struggle with spelling, because we only focus on either memorizing or listening to the sounds and the phonics side of things. We also want to link things to meaning, so link the little chunks of words that have meaning. So those morphemes are really, really helpful for children. If you want to know more about morphemes or morphology, we've got some other webinars that go into it in a little bit more detail. You also want to link it to the origins of words, so where the words have come from, because sometimes that can give you a good explanation of why the words are spelled the way that they are. And you want to try identifying patterns, so where you see letter patterns, like double letters often come in at the end of words after short vowel sounds, like in cuff and puff or pull and things like that. You've got those double letters towards the end. And again, once you've taught all of those skills, we need lots of repetition, and that really helps to embed the spelling. Making sure we use all of these things is what really helps all of our learners succeed in spelling. So again, I've just got the new website view here of our Spelling Shed lessons. So here, if you click on the Spelling Shed tab this time, it'll take you to our teaching tools, and you can click on the spelling scheme. If you want to download that medium-term plan, it's there. The selecting the stages up on the right, again, just like it was in the Phonics Shed, and then you can click into the planning and view the lesson plan from there. You can also flick into the worksheets that are available to match the lesson plan, and it'll tell you in the lesson plan when to use them. You can load up our PowerPoint there, or you can download them if you want to. And there is a homework sheet for each activity as well. Now, yours might not be set as homework, it might just be additional activities, but they're all based on those spelling skills I was talking about there. And then finally, we've got teaching maths well too. So teaching maths, it's all about being structured and going in an order that builds on the prior learning, which is why that progression's really, really important that I mentioned earlier. You also want to use different representations like blocks or drawings to show how mathematics is structured. So rather than just learning little number tricks, and I know there's lots of them, with the education other than school group that I work with, they talk a lot about taking the zeros off tens, and they're really helpful little tricks. But I use blocks and place value grids to show the children how that works, so they're really understanding how that is structured and not just learning the trick, because it can fall down with some instances. You also want to give lots of opportunity for mathematical thinking and opportunities for reasoning and problem solving, so making those connections between different things that we are doing in maths. You want to try things out in lots of different ways, so use different models, different methods of calculation, or different routes to answer the question. If you're doing 8 plus 5, one time you might go 8 and then add a 2 on to make it 10, and then add a 3 on, or another time I might start with 5 and split the 5 off the 8 and then add another 3. So you can change it around in lots of different ways and get different routes to it. And again, like the other ones, once you've got all this, we want to focus on fluency too. So number bonds, timetables, repetition of all these really important elements is really, really key. So finally, our maths lessons are available in our current EdShed website. If you click on MathShed at the side, you can scroll down our guidance page and have a read of all that and look at all the medium-term plans that are there. And then in the scheme tab, you can select your stage and which term according to the medium-term plan you're on and which block you want to look at. So I'm looking at addition and subtraction here. Click on the planning and then you can view or download your teaching slides from here and have a flick through your lesson. And there's also little printouts of any of the parts that need the children to answer the questions. You can have them on little slips as well. You also get the quizzes linked to them, so that will be right next to that planning button. You can play the quizzes online or you can print them out as worksheets as well, and it gives you lots of maths questions to work with on that particular objective. Right, I'm going to hand back over to Caris for a minute and she's going to talk to you about setting the assignments to go with it.
Yes, so setting assignments within EdShed, no matter which product you decide to go with or that you have with us already, it's just what we call setting activities for pupils. So setting an assignment is setting a focused activity for a pupil. So options to do this with our different subscriptions, you can set spelling and grammar games and grammar quizzes. You can set maths quizzes to accompany the lessons and also mental arithmetic games, including the multiplication check simulator for year fours. And you can also set phonics games as well as the ebooks, the decodable ebooks for pupils to read. So those are the different options within assignments. Now we've got a video here to show what that looks like from a pupil's point of view within Spelling Shed.
This is one of our games, Spelling Bee. Children get to choose their own difficulty and then spell the words that are read aloud. They get more points the quicker they are for spelling the word, and if they do happen to get any incorrect, it just tells them the correct spelling so that they can then learn for next time instead, and they'll continue on to the next word.
So those words read aloud would be based on what you have set. So the pattern, the spelling pattern, following the progression for the year group for your child or following what you've been teaching that week. So that's how it's controlled and focused. And there are a few other ones as well, which the screenshots from the right are from. And then Grammar Arcade, this comes with a Spelling Shed subscription.
This is our Grammar Arcade, a selection of games to help with those grammar and punctuation objectives. You can choose by the stage and then the objective that you want, and it will show you which games are available for that. Or you can choose your game first and then have a look down the stages and see which objectives are available for that game. Here I'm going to play Fish Fast with the apostrophes objective. So when I press play, I can click my mouse to lower my worm into the water and try and catch one of the fish. Once I've got a fish on, it will give me a chance to read the question, or I can play it out loud.
Choose the correct use of an apostrophe to show the coat belongs to Wilson.
Then when you're ready, you press ready and you can choose from the answers that are available. It always gives you a chance to read that question first. If you do get it incorrect, it doesn't matter. You fish might start to get away from you, but if you get the next couple of questions right, you will still catch your fish. Once you've answered enough questions to catch the fish that you were trying to catch, it will tell you, well done, and you will get to choose which fish to try and catch next.
So within setting an assignment, what that will mean is children can access all of the games no matter what. But if you set an assignment, you've got quite a few different extra options. You can lock it down so that children can only access what you have set. It also means that there'll be a button so they know exactly what's expected for them to complete rather than having to click through the objectives as you saw in the beginning of that video there. And then a quick snapshot of what is within EdShed assignments in the game screen.
In EdShed, you can choose from a range of objectives to play games with. I'm going to choose Squirrel Scurry, and I'm going to go for the practice mode where I get any facts rather than the learning one where the facts are progressive based on an algorithm. So in this game, you have to answer as many questions as you can to help your squirrel climb up the rope as quickly as you can. If you make a mistake, unfortunately though, your squirrel will fall down into the lava at the bottom. Once your game's finished, you will get an overview of your results, including how many honey pots you earned.
And then the other main assignment you can set for EdShed is the screenshot on the right, which is a screenshot from one of our maths quizzes. And these align to all of the they cover all the national curriculum objectives from year 1 to 6. And there's also a button on there for the question to be read aloud if you're using this with younger children too. And then a short video to show what the EdShed games are like.
In the EdShed garden, you can select lots of Chapter 1 games at the bottom or follow the path up through the GPCs to select one that you want to learn today. So I'm going for shh, and I can then choose from which game I want to do. I'm going for Dare in the Air, I'm going medium difficulty, and I have to catch the letters to spell the word that it reads out to me. If I get one wrong, it does send us in a bit of a spin, but I can just have a go on the next turn there. In EdShed, you can also access the decodable bookshelf right the way through from Chapter 1 to Chapter 4B, and you can get to all of the games through this button here, like Indie Pop, and then choose which grapheme you're doing it with.
And once again, when you set assignments, you have got the option to lock down what the pupils access. So if you wanted them to, they won't have access to the whole of the EdShed garden as you saw on that video, or all of the books, because you'll want to keep it strictly within the progression of what they've covered. So they're only accessing the sounds that they have learnt, rather than sort of skipping ahead to ones that they're not familiar with yet. So in terms of accessing these, they can be accessed by the pupil for free on any browser. So that could be Internet Explorer, Safari, and there are also additional apps that you can allow and purchase for offline play. Now, these are available for spelling and EdShed. There's not currently an app for EdShed just yet. And that just means that if you are somewhere offline, I know, like, if your children might have siblings, maybe they've got swimming lessons and they're sitting at the side and they don't have Wi-Fi, it means that they can be getting on with playing their spelling shed games, for instance. So that is a benefit of having the app over using it for free online. Now, assignments, I know I've mentioned a couple of times about being able to lock kind of what pupils are able to see, and that's something called limit options. So they're only able to access what the educator has set for them. And you can, if you wanted to, select a minimum number of games that they have to play before the rest of the screen unlocks, or you can simply just set it and lock it down for them. So as you can see, the red dot on the right hand side, this is what they will see. They've got a list of these assignments and what to complete and by which date they are due. The red dot means that they are limited and that limit options has been set. And you can also see from the other screen on the left hand side, you've got assignments with a little number at the top where it says view. And that's what they do. They'd click in there and then they'd see the right-hand page. Without limit options, you can still set assignments, and you as the educator and adult can monitor that. You can see how many times they've played it, how accurate the child has been, and all of those lovely different things to be able to see how they're getting on. But they will have access to other lists and games as well. So it kind of depends on the age of the child, and what's appropriate for them, really. Now, once they've completed assignments, they can go up in rank. And this is a motivational tool. So it can start at egg to a larva to a drone and so on until they get to royal bee. And the more points they get is based on the accuracy that they have answered, whichever platform that might be on, whether it's phonics or spelling, and also the difficulty that they have played on. So pupils are able to choose their own difficulty, starting at easy, going to extreme, just to get their confidence up a bit. It's completely up to them. But that's an extra motivational tool that's in there so they can see those changes as they play. Now, this is what a game screen looks like for a child. And as you can see at the bottom, there are a few different score types. So the one with the star is the shed score, and these are points scored in the last 7 days. So it's a rolling score. So depending on how much a child has played, so today's Tuesday, from today to last Tuesday, and then tomorrow it'll be Wednesday to Wednesday. So sometimes they can have a bit of a dip and it can start going down. If they've had a few days where they haven't played, but it's quite a nice snapshot to kind of see how they're getting on currently. And then as well as that, you've got the highest score. So the highest score they have ever achieved in a game, whether that's a spelling game or MathShed game. So that will never go away. That's kind of like their PB. And then you've got a total score. So the total score of all the scores that they've ever achieved in any spelling game. Or again, it might be the platform that they are playing on, whether that's MathShed or PhonicShed. And then you've got honeypots. Now, honeypots are the currency within EdShed. The more points pupils get, they'll be awarded honeypots, and then they can spend these on their avatar to get upgrades for accessories. They might be able to buy pets, they can do backgrounds, they can change hair, eyes, skin, what they're wearing, and add all sorts to them. So children love being able to go and spend their honeypots on their avatars. So it's just another extra motivational tool for them there. Now, Mastery Zone is an extra icon that children can see on their game screen within Spelling Shed. So this is just available within Spelling Shed at the moment. You as the adult do not need to set anything for Mastery Zone. What it is it's an algorithm-driven tool. If a child has never clicked on it, they'll be sent through a mini diagnostic test and given some instructions, which are the screenshots you see in front of you. The idea is they'll be given an easy word, a hard word, easy word, hard word, and complete about 20 of those until the system finds the level that the children's spelling age or spelling ability is at. And then it will serve them with words based on that level that it's figured out. So for the mini diagnostic, it won't tell the children if they're getting them correct or incorrect. It will just kind of work out where they are. And then going forward, it will give them a list of focus words based on where it feels their gaps are. So it's a really nice tool to be able to use alongside your quality teaching as well as your focused assignments that you're setting them. So you're following their progression, but this is kind of going alongside plugging any gaps and just reinforcing any practice that you've got going. And you as the teacher or educator will be able to see this from your hub, your educator hub too. See how many times they've played it and their focus words that they have got.
So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit more now is reviewing the data. So the really, really good thing about the children doing all this work online and through the games is it collects it and marks it for you. So you don't have to sit and analyze so much data because it's already done for you. So the times table competency grid is a really good one to have a look at within MathShed. So this will give you this nice little heat map of how that particular child is doing with their times tables, so that you can identify specific ones that that child is struggling with, or ones that they're really, really strong with as well. So that might mean you encourage them to work on particular times tables where you can see a lot of red blips. So I can see one here, I think it's the 6 times table, but it's a bit hard to see on the screenshot. It's got 5 red blobs, and it's got a yellow one as well. So that one could do with some work. So I might set them some more assignments based on that, or do a little bit more work using some of my lesson materials again to focus on that objective. And the view that you get as an educator about the child is that you can see exactly which games from which products they've been playing in the last week and which days they've been playing on. You can see their scores. So that's both the scores we were talking about. The one on the left, I've cut the headings off, unfortunately, in this screenshot, but the one on the left is the shed score. That's that rolling 7-day one that Karis was talking about. So that would be anytime between now and last Tuesday. But the one on the right is their total score that's going on for that one, and it will tell you which product they're for as well. If you want to look at the real nitty gritty of the data, you can do. So if you view an individual child's history, you can see exactly which words they've spelled. You can see if they did misspell any, exactly how they misspelled them as well. So you can start to figure out what the problem is and what's going wrong for them there. And you also get activity logs, so you can see when children log in and that they're playing the games and that they're spending their honey pots and things like that, so you can keep a good eye on what children are doing. And if you set those assignments that Karis was talking about, where the children go and play the games, you get a lot more data on those too. So all of those things I was just saying about analysing the spelling errors, you can view from clicking the I button on the sessions, but you also get to see those ranks that Karis was talking about, their percentage they got correct, an indication of the speed and the difficulty that they keep choosing. So you can see if the child keeps choosing the easy mode and you maybe want to work on it a little bit more, or if they are challenging themselves and going for that extreme difficulty there as well. And with phonics assessments, these are a little bit different because they're quite specific. So you can go through individually for each sound that the children are learning and check them, all the individual words, as in high frequency words that you might want to focus on, those really common words, and see, and you can then map how your child's doing with them. And we also have that mock phonics screening check. So this is a tool that does some real words and some nonsense words. And the point of the nonsense words is to assess if the child is able to use those phonics skills that are really, really important for accessing wider vocabulary when they are older. We've also got the letter tiles tool, which is really, really helpful here. So you can see from the Spelling Shed site, if you scroll down, there's a bubble that says interactive letter tiles tool. You can also just Google letter tiles tool and it comes up. This is free. Don't need a subscription or a login for it or anything, and it's got lots of tools that work with phonics. It's got some prefixes and suffixes, so you're working with that morphology as well. So it's great for spelling and great for phonics support there. You can also access in our top EdShed banner, you can get to some of our free webinars and blog to find out more information about all of these things. So phonics assessments, I think we've got some webinars that focus particularly on those. If you're thinking I'm talking about morphology and that's all a lot for you, there's lots of webinars talking about that too. So you can go and have a look at those from those free resources there. Okay, so we are nearly through talking about all of our products. It feels like there's so much in there to talk about, which is great. I was going to hand over to Karis just to talk you through any of the subscription options we've got.
Yeah, I think we were both conscious that we're jumping through all the different, going from one product to another, but we really wanted to be able to show you what we've got that might be useful to you. So in terms of subscription options, We have a few different subscription types and different platforms. So as we mentioned earlier, QuizShed is totally free. You can create an account, you wouldn't need to enter any card details, and you can play this for free, and you can set QuizShed assignments, so quizzes for pupils to access for free too. And there is quite a big bank on there of ones other teachers have made, but also free ones that we have made too. And they might be from fun quizzes about different movies to ones linked to the curriculum, but you can of course make your own as well. Now, in terms of Literacy Shed Plus, this is one we haven't spoken about quite as much because it's an educator only resource. So it's just got teaching resources on there for you. You have got the Literacy Shed, which is free, and there are lots of amazing inspirational videos to use as writing prompts or comprehension. There's Literacy Shed Plus, which is the paid subscription. So this is £31.50 and includes teaching resources, text comprehensions, writing units, and the news shed. There's loads of really valuable resources on there. So that's a very popular option. And you'll have access to all of those with that one. And then this one is brand new, which is Literacy Shed Platinum. And this includes our new Fluency Shed. So lots to do with reading and lots of focused reading tasks and working on fluency if that's something that you feel like you or your child would benefit from. And that is the Literacy Shed Plus price plus £20. So you've got all of those different resources there available for those subscriptions for Literacy Shed Plus. And then for the others, it's completely up to you. They're separate, but you can also put them together for a bit of a discount. So a parent subscription or a parent type subscription, you will have everything that a teacher has in their subscription. The only difference is the amount of pupils. So if we look at the top line, for example, we've got one shed. So this is the price for one of our products. So either spelling, phonics, or maths, just one of them. You can pay monthly, you can pay yearly, and I'll go through the difference, between parent and teacher, because I think that's going to come up at the end. And then with two sheds, whether you want to choose maths and phonics or spelling and maths, you get a bit of a discount rather than having them separate. So as it's a combined two shed subscription, that's the second lot of pricing, monthly and yearly. And then if you wanted to go for all three, you get a bit of a discount again, and that is the bottom level of pricing down there. Now, what I was going to say, which is going to come up next, is the difference between these. The only difference is it's nothing to do with the content, it's the amount of pupils that you can add. So on parent accounts, you can add up to 5 pupils. So if you are someone like a tutor, for example, and you've got only a very small group, or you are a home educator parent, these would be best for you. But if you are somebody that maybe tutors more than that, or you've got a home educator kind of group within the community, a yearly teacher one would be for you because that's up to 36 pupils. But all of the content is exactly the same. The only difference between parent and teacher is how many pupils you can add. So there's lots of savings to be had if you wanted more than one. So those are all of your different options there, just to make it nice and clear for you. If you wanted to get a monthly one, you can cancel it at any point. It's not sort of a minimum. You just be able to, at the end of the month, if you didn't want it to auto renew, you can turn that off. And then the store. There are a few things you might be interested in on the store. There are a few different things from accompanying Literacy Shed, but also mainly, I would say, Phonics Shed. So there are physical flashcards, there are Joe the Puppet, there are really handy posters as well, blending and segmenting posters, as well as our alphabetic code chart. For math, spelling and maths, it's more kind of extra things you might want. You might want pens, pencils, those sorts of things, stickers that go alongside the assignment ranks. But mainly, I would say for physical resources, it's Phonics Shed. But you can go and have a look and see if any of those things might be helpful for you. And then if you did want a free trial, you can get a free trial to all of our subscriptions apart from Literacy Shed. You don't have to input any card details. It will end after 2 weeks, so 14 days. So you don't have to worry about going in and turning it off and it charging you. But you can take out a free trial at any point, or if you have any more questions at all, please email support@edshed.com. And we will pop this recording on our YouTube site in a week or so. All right.
And the only reason Literacy Shed hasn't got a free trial with it is because there's a lot of free bits in the Literacy Shed to show you what it's like, and the Literacy Shed bit is free as well. So you can still go have a look and find out what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And then we've got our social media pages as well. I had to try and put them all on there for you so you can find us all. But basically, if you search each product on each of the different platforms, I'm sure you will find us. And we've got our general education shed or EdShed ones as well.